What is your financial table is one of those types of questions that we really do need to ask ourselves um, repeatedly, consistently, persistently. It is not something that we say, okay, I just want to save some money or I want to build an emergency fund. That's the start of a financial table. That is not the end all be all. Uh, Say, for instance, you set the financial table to say 3 months worth of emergency fund, whatever that dollar figure is. So that dollar figure is based upon what you make every month and based upon the type of emergency. So you would have to define the emergency. If the emergency is to make sure that you have your rent for the next month now, right? Or your rent for the next 2 or 3 months now, just in case there's a problem with your hours on your job, right? Okay, then you're gonna take a certain amount out of your paycheck every paycheck, put it off to the side, and then by the end of 3 months, you will have at least your first month extra rent. That means that your financial table is going to have boundaries. It's going to have standards, boundaries, and expectations. So, for example, if your rent is $1,200 and you're trying to save 1,200 times three for 3 months, 3,600, and then you manage at the end of the first 3 months to save that 1,200, and then another 3 months you save another 1,200, etc., then when someone comes to you and asks you for some money, you don't have it. Because if that's the goal, if that is your financial table to establish a 3 month savings, emergency savings, which represents your rent, then you don't have it. Because anything could happen between the time that you start that savings goal and the time you save. And so anyone who's coming to you and asking you for money, you may have an extra $1,200, but that doesn't mean that you actually have an extra $1,200. That means you have your extra rent. And so when you're looking at your financial table, especially before you engage romantically with someone, you do have to build good sound financial habits. You can't be a person who gives just because someone calls. Because if you decide to get into a relationship, a romantic relationship, whether it's live in or married, you can't take money, you can't expect to be single while married with your money. You can't expect to give a certain amount of money every month like you to a person like you did when you were single while you're now married, because the money has to go into the household. And so if you're not ready to transition your financial table from single to married, then you would need to reassess whether or not uh, you have the appropriate, financial table for you. Sometimes it could be that you just don't make enough money or something, right? Or sometimes it can be that you don't feel like you should have to share in the finances. Well, that's not going to work when you actually get married, because you are coming together as one. You are engaging and transitioning from engagement to marriage as one, and you have to bridge your finances as one. And so there are only two people in a marriage. Despite what many people say about marriage, there are only two people in a marriage. And so that means you're going to have to set boundaries with family members who have always been able to depend upon you for a few extra dollars when you were single. That is no longer, singlehood is no longer your financial table, or it would no longer be your financial table. Um, the way you spent when you were single, maybe you spend too much money on, credit cards, or you spend too much money on clothes or something like that. I still think you can buy clothes. You may have to choose your battles. So your financial table, whereas you were able to have a budget of $500 a month on clothes just for you as a single individual, that financial table is going to have to change for a person who's married, because then you are sharing the financial load when it comes to clothes. You are sharing the financial load when it comes to bills. You are sharing the financial load when it comes to other types of responsibilities. And then if you add kids on top of that, or if you add any sort of health problems on top of that, then you then that financial table is going to need to bear that type of weight. So when you're thinking about your financial table, there's a single financial table, there's a single to married financial table, that transition, and then there is a married married to married financial table, meaning that you're already married. And so whatever ideas, thinking that you had prior to that relationship, you're going to have to now really um, bridge what it means to sit at the financial table together. And if you're not ready to do that, then don't engage a relationship. Don't move in with a partner and bridge your finances, and you both are not financially stable. Two financially unstable people do not make one financially stable person. You both need to go through the process of learning about your individual financial tables, what's going on with you individually, why you are not saving money, why you're not making enough money, why you don't have enough money to come together as two married people. You have to look at your own individual respective financial tables before you can now come together as a collective, right? So what is your financial table?